Welcome to Museum Moments, the show that's your window into what's happening right here in Museum City, Portsmouth. A new historical exhibit at the city's newest museum, a behind-the-scenes look at Winter Wonderland, another hands-on history segment, and a look at what's happening this holiday season at all the museums here in Portsmouth. That's coming up right now. Welcome to this November-December 2016 episode of Museum Moments. I'm your host, Rob Lauer. The Naval Shipyard has been central to the history of Portsmouth for centuries, and much of that history will be on display when the Naval Shipyard Museum reopens in 2017. In the meantime, curator Diane Cripps has been going through all of the artifacts, and recently she uncovered some having to do with the way the holidays were celebrated in the shipyard in the first half of the 20th century. She decided to share those with us on today's episode of Hands-On History. Diane, thanks for joining us again.
My pleasure.
Now, with the holiday season coming up, I asked if there were any artifacts from the Naval Shipyard Museum that had to do with the holiday season. And you have come up with an entire table full of things. So,
right.
What is this we're looking at?
This is a collection of paper artifacts, ephemera, things that I think are pretty rare because not a lot of people save things like little announcements about Christmas happenings or even Christmas cards. But when you said holiday things, this is what I thought of, and I thought these are really neat and I'd like people to see them. You know, a lot of times museums can't exhibit everything they have, and of course the Shipyard Museum is currently closed. We're still renovating.
Right.
So it was a pleasure to pull some of these out and share them with you today.
Well, what do you have here? It's really...
I've got a variety of things. I'll start with probably the oldest thing I've got here in the collection is over there on the left-hand side. This is just an antique Christmas card that we happen to have in our collection. People are in an automobile, actually, it looks like to me.
Yeah.
But it's got a date on the front of 1911 and a postmark of 1912. It was sent to somebody in Lancaster, Virginia, of a family just out enjoying the snow in the wintertime. It's a nice color postcard. And that's the one thing I've got here that's just kind of generically Christmas.
Right.
And everything else is more specific to the shipyard. We move through time a little bit. Well, actually, this almost goes back in time. This is a turn-of-the-century tin Christmas greeting card. I haven't been able to find out a lot about these, but I know that sometimes there were actual postcards made of tin. This one just looks like a greeting card, like you just might hand to someone like you'd give away a business card. On one side it says a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in color, and on the other side it's got a rendering of the USS Texas, which was a battleship built in the 1890s right here at Norfolk Naval Shipyard. I don't know anything more about it than that, but it's just really, really neat. And it's got this funny little design on the side that makes it look like a card that's turned down at the corner. You know, somebody put a lot of design work into that.
Wow.
And that's just something from our collection. Moving on to the 1930s, we've got two just little paper announcements. Actually, what they are is starched linen. This is the same material that draftsmen on the shipyard would use to make measure drawings of whatever they needed to draw, whether it was a plat map or a piece of machinery. And what I would imagine is that at Christmas time, in this era, they took whatever scraps they had laying around and made announcements about things that were happening on the shipyard. And these from 1933 and 34 are announcements that the annual visit of Mr. Claus to all the girls of the Norfolk Navy Yard will be taking place in a certain, the shop superintendent's office, 12:40 p.m. Thursday, December 20th, 1934. Signed, the boys.
Okay.
I like this because I think the technique is really neat. You know, this is far before the era of any kind of computer-aided design or anything like that. This is hand-done ink on linen. It was actually done with a tool called a Leroy, which was a way to make standardized-looking typeface on a drawing like this.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like something, a font that you would pick off of a computer now.
Right,
It's perfect.
but it's almost like an auto pen. It helps you make the letters so that they all look alike. And it's got hand-done artwork on it too, a Christmas tree rendering, these funny little figures and the Merry Christmas. I just get a kick out of it because nobody ever meant for these to be saved. In fact, in the collection we've got a few copies of it, like they made mimeographs of it and passed it out, but these are the originals, so I thought that was really cool. There's a little printed card here that is just a greeting from that says the Commandant and management of the Navy Yard extend to you the best wishes for a Merry Christmas with the hope that you and those dependent upon you will have an abundant will have abundant prosperity and contentment throughout the new year. And I think that's neat. It's 1934, December 25th, it says, because it mentions the families of the workers, and that was common in the shipyard in articles of that time or announcements. People are depending on you, safety announcements and things like that.
It's talking abundance and prosperity. I mean, this is probably one of the worst years of the Depression.
That's
was
true.
1934.
That's true. Meant to encourage people at the holiday time, because it probably wasn't a very Merry Christmas for a lot of people. Yeah. These are some of my favorites. Now we're in the World War II era. These are Christmas greeting cards from Norfolk Navy Yard, as it was called at that point. It didn't become Norfolk Naval Shipyard until 1945. And these are hand-drawn, again, ink design on paper Christmas cards. We've got Christmas 1942 showing the ships out at sea with the Army Navy E for Excellence flag and some of the buildings on the shipyard. This one says a Christmas salvo from Norfolk Navy Yard, and of course it shows a battleship firing its guns. That's from 1938-39. That's even a little earlier. This one's my favorite, even though it's damaged. It says 1941-42, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and it's got a rendering of Santa Claus giving Uncle Sam a battleship for Christmas. That's just my favorite design, and either they're blank inside or they just say Season's Greetings.
That's great.
Those are really nice, and I don't think there's a lot of these left out there.
And these are probably just done by draftsmen too.
Probably, or artists on the shipyard. The Navy did employ artists and artisans who did all kinds of things, and some of them, for a living they might have done measured drawings, but they had plenty of artistic talent too, and it shows up in things like this. And what we've got up here are bound copies of the shipyard's newspaper. Nowadays it's called Service to the Fleet, and it's a 4-color magazine that comes out once a month. In its earliest iteration, it was called The Defender, and that's what we've got there. That's the very first bound volume that was ever published, of issues of The Defender. And that has a Christmas cover that says Season's Greetings, and again, it's another hand-done bit of funny little artwork that I'm sure was done by some of the shipyard draftsmen or artists, where they took the photographic faces of some of the top brass of the shipyard and they superimposed them on comic little drawings that I'm sure relate to whatever that person's job was. And each little drawing has a tag telling what that particular officer's name was. And it's really funny. And the shipyard commander's right in the middle riding an old-fashioned bicycle with his scarf flying. And what we've got here is an ink rendering. This is Christmas 1945, I think. It just says Merry Christmas, and it's a rendering of the chapel building on the shipyard itself.
Beautiful drawings.
They really are.
Wide drawing.
They really are. And I think that they're kind of reminders of the human side of the shipyard, because when I think about what went on there, it's a big industrial place with, it's kind of cold, and people were working in steel and giant ships and repairs and all that. But I think a lot of times the humanity of it all comes out with things like this, because you get to see the people's artistic talents, or the reminder that all of this work was done by human beings. Yeah. Even if there were thousands and thousands of them, people were still wishing each other a Merry Christmas and taking time to do some artwork and having a visit from Santa Claus.
That's great. Now over here you have some photographs, and these are of things like artificial trees, aluminum trees and things, and decorations.
Through the years, there were a lot of different Christmas decorations, and whether they were exterior or interior, a lot of the shipyard gates would have big banners or metal letters strung out across them that said Merry Christmas, giant wreaths and big stars. Even up on the end of the hammerhead crane that everyone sees on the waterfront had a big star on it that would light up at night, Christmas time. And there are photographs here of an enormous, shiny aluminum tree that was made by the shipyard workers as well, out of aluminum piping that they cut, and it must have taken a long time when they had a spare moment here or there. But things like this did get erected inside the shipyard from year to year, and lots of pictures were taken. Yep.
That's great. Well, thanks for sharing those with us. And any idea when the museum here is going to reopen?
We're making progress. We're hoping for next spring. And we're looking forward to next summer. We're working on our World War I exhibit. That's going to be down at the old courthouse, at the 1846 courthouse, the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center. And we're still looking for artifacts and stories. So if anybody has family members or memorabilia, ancestors who were World War I related in Portsmouth, we're examining Portsmouth's role in the war, which was significant. And we'd love to hear stories if anyone has them to share or see.
So if you do have stories, artifacts, World War I, give them a call.
Absolutely.
And you're also, I know that you are doing a lot of work over at the Community Library Museum, which is your newest museum, and you have a new exhibit there.
We do, and now it's a small building with a big story to tell, and for a little while this summer we had sort of half of it or 2/3 of it with an exhibit about the history of the library itself. Now we have on display an exhibit about the business district that the library was a part of. There were a lot of businesses that were owned and operated by African Americans, served African Americans in that same neighborhood as the library. In fact, the librarian was quoted as saying, "Our library was on the main drag." And it really was a place where African American folks in mid-20th century Portsmouth could go to take care of daily needs and not have to travel outside the city when the city was still segregated. There were doctors, medical medical services available to people when otherwise they might have to go to Norfolk, or everyday services like barbershops and beauty salons. We also have a part of the exhibit about the media, about newspapers specifically that reported on goings-on and social happenings in the African American community. And so now the little building over there is filled up with exhibits, and we're happy to have people come and see them.
That's great.
We're open Fridays and Saturdays from noon to 5 through most of November, and then we close for the season, but we still take reservations for groups who want to come and see, and we'll reopen again in January on Martin Luther King weekend, because we'll have a series of events that the whole museums department is staging for Black History Month.
Okay, great.
And then we'll be open for the season again.
Preview of that then.
Right, that would be great.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for being here again. Thanks
My pleasure.
for showing us all this and really bringing a little bit of Portsmouth's unique history.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Right, thank you.
When we return to Museum Moments, we'll look at other exhibits on display in museums this November, December. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
A whole new world of imagination opens before their eyes. The Children's Museum of Virginia, Old Town Portsmouth.
At our house, we really like to maximize family time. That's why our favorite place for family fun is Old Town Portsmouth. We love taking the ferry over, then strolling through unique shops filled with one-of-a-kind treasures. Next, it's on to a great lunch at an outdoor cafe and an afternoon of fun with friends at the Children's Museum of Virginia and the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame and Museum. Food, fun, and adventure? No wonder Old Town Portsmouth is our go-to destination for family fun.
Welcome back to this November-December 2016 episode of Museum Moments. The galleries at Tidewater Community College's Visual Arts Center are located at the corner of High Street and Court Street. The 47th Annual TCC Art Faculty Exhibition will open on November 19th and will be on display throughout the holiday season until January 5th, 2017. The public is invited to a free opening night reception beginning at 6 p.m. on Friday evening, November 19th. The galleries are open 7 days a week, from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m., and admission is always absolutely free. Directly across the street from the TCC Visual Arts Center is the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center, which is housed in the old 1846 courthouse. Since early October, it's been closed, and the hardworking, talented men and women of the museum's exhibit department have been busy at work setting up this year's Winter Wonderland display. Recently, we stopped in to see how things were progressing, and I spoke with Skip Novak. Skip, welcome back to Museum Moments. So, what is going on here? I know that you've been busy setting up the Winter Wonderland exhibit this year. Are there new things that are being installed?
Yeah, actually, for the past 3 weeks, we've been working on Winter Wonderland, some stuff down at Children's Museum for the Changing Exhibits Gallery, as well as here at the second floor of the Portsmouth Arts and Cultural Center. We have a couple of new things going on this year. I don't know how much I'm able to tell.
Tell as much as you can.
We've got some new backdrops that we've installed, and we have a new set being finished up as we speak that will be probably installed next week. We're replacing the old bakery with, actually old candy factory with a new candy factory. Last year we replaced the bakery with a new bakery. We also have a few other things that are up our sleeves, some new figures, if you will, that's going to be installed.
Have you ever been able to use all the figures from the Coleman collection? As far as you know, there's just too much stuff.
Yeah, we've never used every piece in one single year.
Yeah.
We've used various pieces throughout the years, but we do not have the room that Coleman's Nursery has had. Also, they had a permanent building where they kept most of the collection up year-round. The stuff that was in the nursery area and the shops and stuff, that was all packed away right after New Year's and then brought out right before Thanksgiving and set up just in a couple of days. And that was all stored in their Winter Wonderland castle.
I know we still have another week and a half before October ends. You've been here for 3 weeks already?
We've been here for 2 weeks. We started 3 weeks ago down at Children's.
Wow. All right, well, thanks for talking to us, and we'll take a look around and see what's happening.
Okay, have fun.
Thanks. More about the Winter Wonderland holiday exhibit and other seasonal events right after these messages.
A whole new world of imagination opens before their eyes. The Children's Museum of Virginia, Old Town Portsmouth.
At our house, we really like to maximize family time. That's why our favorite place for family fun is Old Town Portsmouth. We love taking the ferry over, then strolling through unique shops filled with one-of-a-kind treasures. Next, it's on to a great lunch at an outdoor cafe and an afternoon of fun with friends at the Children's Museum of Virginia and the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame and Museum. Food, fun, and adventure? No wonder Old Town Portsmouth is our go-to destination for family fun.
Welcome back to this November-December episode of Museum Moments. The Coleman's Winter Wonderland exhibit is by far the most popular and most visited of any display at any of the museums in Portsmouth. Recently, I spoke to Stephen Grunnett to learn more about what's happening this year. Stephen, welcome back to Portsmouth Now.
Hey, Rob.
So you have some events coming up here in late November and going through December at the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center.
This is my favorite time of year.
Really, I thought Halloween was.
Well, okay, I guess it's a short second. We have got the greatest event that the museum has every year called Winter Wonderland. And it's filled with all sorts of fantastic Christmas scenes, antique animatronics that comes from the Coleman Nursery that closed in 2004. This is our 13th year. I've got to hand it to our exhibits team. They are fantastic.
They are.
It opens the day after Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving, and it's open extended hours. 9 to 5, Tuesday through Thursday, 11 to 5 on Sunday, but on Friday and Saturday, both the Art and Cultural Center, Winter Wonderland, and the Children's Museum are open from 9 until 8 o'clock in the evening.
Wow.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of activities, especially on weekends. So there's a calendar of holiday events. And if you're a member, you get free admission to all these admission to the exhibits, but also all these activities that take place.
So what types of activities do you have taking place?
On the weekends, depending on the weekend, we'll have chocolate dipping, holiday cookie decorating. There'll be special artists that will come and do origami ornament making or glass ornament painting. And participants, ticket holders to Winter Wonderland, can come and do this and make and take one of these ornaments to give as a gift or take home with them. And if you just check the holiday calendar of events, you can find all of the activities and when they're going to take place. But weekends are the best bet, and the best weekend, well, one of the best weekends, is going to be December 10th on Saturday. Will be the Old Town Holiday Music Festival.
Which is just a fantastic
Fantastic, yes. And we're going to have lots of music throughout the season, but especially that day we'll have strolling fiddle players and carolers. There'll be more going on in Old Town itself as well. So it's a citywide event that you can come and enjoy the whole day. Plus, the last day Winter Wonderland is open on New Year's Eve. We have every year a New Year's Eve countdown holiday bash for children and their families. So
This is on the assumption that they will not be awake.
Exactly. So they can come and we'll have a ball drop at noon so that you can have a great time with your kids and still put them to bed.
And have a great time with adults.
Exactly. That's the idea. So if you need any more information on all that's going on, you can give the museum a call at 393-8543. All of these events are listed on our website, and admission is only $3 for the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center, and to get a holiday pass that includes the Children's Museum is $12 a person. Or you can become a member, and I'm telling you what, that pays for itself. Exactly. And it would make an excellent gift. A membership to the Portsmouth Museums this time of year would be an excellent
Especially if people are trying to find a gift for a family.
Precisely.
Or for a child. And it's just a great thing for a whole family to have.
I think it's a fantastic idea.
I think you're right. All right, well, thanks so much for stopping by and telling us all about it, Steve.
Thank you again, Rob. Have a great holiday season, everyone.
You too. Happy holiday. As they do every year at this time, the City of Portsmouth museums offer lots of activities for family members of all ages. Among those events, Snow Wonders will take place on Friday evening, November 25th in the mall area just outside the Children's Museum. At 5:30, 6:30, and 7:30, snow will fall from the sky and music will fill the air. Here in Hampton Roads, we know how unpredictable the weather can be. But on the evening of November 25th outside the Children's Museum, be the temperature hot or cold, there will be snow. This event is free to everyone. And don't miss the annual Parties with Santa, held inside the Children's Museum on Saturday, November 26. For more information on this event or on any of the events covered on today's show, simply log on to www.portsvaevents.com. I'm Rob Lauer. From me and from everyone here at PCTV, we wish you and yours a happy holiday season. Be sure to join us in January for our January-February 2017 episode of Museum Moments.
A whole new world of imagination opens before their eyes. The Children's Museum of Virginia, Old Town Portsmouth.
At our house, we really like to maximize family time. That's why our favorite place for family fun is Old Town Portsmouth. We love taking the ferry over, then strolling through unique shops filled with one-of-a-kind treasures. Next, it's on to a great lunch at an outdoor cafe and an afternoon of fun with friends at the Children's Museum of Virginia and the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame and Museum. Food, fun, and adventure? No wonder Old Town Portsmouth is our go-to destination for family fun.